All right, it's 7 p.m. Tuesday, December 10th, 2024. I'd like to call the Town of Lake Mills Town Board meeting to order. Notice posted at the Town Hall on the town's website. Can we get a motion to adopt tonight's agenda, amend it?
We'd like to amend the agenda tonight, so applications 9A and 9B will be moved up in front of public comment. So I'll make a motion to approve it as amended.
I will second.
Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Can we get a motion to approve all meeting minutes from November 12th, 2024 to December 4th, 2024?
I will make that motion.
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Can we get a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
Make a motion to approve the December 2024 Treasurer's Report.
Second.
Any other discussion?
Not much income this month. It's short.
Sure. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Can we get a motion to approve the expense sheets? I think Robin had one in
I
there.
don't think we had any this month.
Oh, there was one receipt that had your name on it, but,
For me?
That was for me.
oh, that was Ace. Okay, never mind, we're good. 6, approval of the general fund vouching.
Make a motion to approve December's disbursements of $129,393.72.
I'll second that motion.
Any other discussion on that?
Nope.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Reports. Police report, Chief Kaminsky.
Okay, for November, we just had 4 administrative hours for the boat, and that's just finishing up the voting reports for the end of the year. We still have one more to finish. So I need to connect with Robin and with Randy Burns, and we'll get that last report filed by January, and we have time on that one. It's not due until the end of January, so we're okay there. In November, we had 8 hours of patrol time. Sergeant Miller worked a patrol shift or 2 in November, issued 3 citations, and made a couple of additional stops for repair notices. I've been in and out as well, a little bit out there. Went out also to check on some fencing issues, things like that. That would have been more this month. And I also acted as the court officer for the Lake Mills City and Town Municipal Court. Since we don't have a court officer anymore, I went in and did that on Wednesday night of last week. So that's all we have right now.
Excellent. Thanks, Chief.
What was the outcome of the fence?
We're gonna mail a letter today.
Oh, okay, all right.
Plan Commission report, Jim.
The conditional use for CRW Company LLC was moved on with approval to the town board. And the discussion on the rezone on North Shore Road for 3 2-acre lots was only allowed 1 per our comprehensive land use plan. So he was asked to revise it before he comes to the town board.
Okay. Thanks, Jim. Fire and EMS report, Cambridge Lake Mills, Dave.
Nothing to report.
Joint Rock Lake Committee report. Let's see Wendy here. Town Chairman report, City, County, State Communications. Just had some discussions with Drake as far as the fire contract's concerned. I think they're holding off because there's some redundant language in there that can be removed. I think if things go forward with EMS. Also expressed my displeasure, I guess, and that's my personal opinion, with that Vanguard development project on across from Tarina Park there. More of a concern really with what the traffic flow is going to be like over there. And I've expressed that concern to the county as well. And I think they were supposed to get a traffic study done on that. And I'm trying to think if there was anything else there. I think that was
Was
it with.
the road rating submitted?
Road ratings was signed off on this morning, actually, so Corey was gonna get that taken care of. I actually had a meeting, pretty good lengthy meeting with him this morning, and gave him a bunch of information from our road tour the previous week. So he's got a lot to work on here at the beginning of the month. And then I talked to Brian at the county about when they're gonna be doing those other bridges on Rock Lake Road and Newville Road, the eastbound ones. And essentially, it's not gonna be next year. He's thinking it's like 3 to 5 years that they haven't getting it back to them on, so who knows? But it's not gonna be next year, so, they're not going right back in there, so it shouldn't really handicap anything on that, front. And I think that's it for me. All right, applications. Discussion or decision, a request for conditional use permit made by CRW Company LLC for landscaping supply company at North 7008 Rock Lake Road. That's you.
You got
Do
anything
I
to
just do
say?
a summary of what it is that you do?
Hi, I'm Chandler White from Lake Mills, looking to open a landscape supply business in Lake Mills. We sell decorative stone and mulch and landscaping supplies to the community. Yeah, that's basically what I got.
And he said the signage, he'll work with the county on the size and of that. Because county ordinance, town doesn't regulate signs.
Yeah, and for those that don't know, it's up on Rock Lake Road, pretty much right next to the interstate.
Yeah, where the old salt shed was.
Where the old salt shed is, yep, up in that area, so.
I didn't put it on the building instead of like stationary, and I think if it's on the building, it doesn't need a permit through the county.
You're talking about the business side, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So then your retail business is gonna be manned and have hours, I'm assuming?
Yeah. We plan on, this is just temporary right now, but 8 AM to 4 PM Monday through Friday, and then 8 AM to 1 PM on Saturdays.
No snowmobiling. Oh, no, that doesn't happen in the winter.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Good luck.
I'll get signatures and I'll email it over to you so you have it for going to the county.
Okay, cool, thank you.
All right, second one. I don't know if they're here, are they?
Nope. Charlie's, anybody here for Eggert? Charlie Eggert?
Doesn't look like it.
Nope.
So I'll move to postpone this for a future meeting.
Okey doke. You need that seconded? You want it tabled or what? No.
Yeah, I moved it.
Dave,
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. All right, period of public comment. Now is the time for the general public, if they want to speak on behalf of issues. Come to the podium, please state your name and your address, and keep it to 3 minutes or less.
And be sure you sign in on the.
And sign in on
paper,
that
please.
paper.
My name is Tim Oran. I live at WS7898 County Road B, which is directly across from Tyrone Park and adjacent to the site where the new apartment complex is cited for. And I want to thank you very much for allowing me to speak with you tonight. The proposal as it stands right now is for 165 units on that site. I fully understand that this is the city of Lake Mills property. Let me get that, and it's the city of Lake Mills zoning issue. But building such a complex on a property will have a dramatic and negative impact on township property and its citizens as well. And I hope that we can help somehow with that. There are a number of concerns that have been raised, including one environmental. based upon reports that were done in 2019, and subsequently there's residual soil and waste contamination. There's groundwater contamination, particularly important because township people living near that site have well water, and we're using that for drinking. So if you disturb the groundwater and the landfill underneath it, we have real concerns with what's going to happen to our drinking water. There's even, based upon the DNR reports, combustible gas generation and even vapor migration issues that are associated with that site. So we have great concerns about digging that up and putting in a 165-unit apartment complex. We'll also have, as was mentioned earlier, significant traffic issues. Traffic study was done. Vanguard estimates an increase of about 1,100 vehicles a day. And that's on a very busy road right now. A couple weeks ago, just from my house alone, we counted between 4:30 and 5:30 p.m., 376 vehicles go by our home. So adding 1,100 to that, it really creates an issue. Not only for traffic and congestion, but really a safety issue, if you see how that road is used. So this has a dramatic impact upon township citizens who run, jog, walk their dogs, or cycle on B, and their safety. And from where we sit in our home, we see a lot of people who are walking and running and walking their dogs and jogging and riding bicycles, etc. on County B. So adding 1,100 cars to that on a daily basis is really a concern. There's also parking concern associated with this. There's no street parking on County Road D, as you know, and overflow parking from the complex will undoubtedly move to the parks, and they're already full at times, thereby preventing township residents from making use of these parks. They will be filled. Home values, I have no doubt that putting a large apartment complex next to township single-family homes will have a significant, dramatic, and negative impact on our home values. As of today, 540 people have signed a petition voicing their hope that the project will not be approved by the Lake Mills City Council. That's 540 people that signed that petition. Also, a group called Concerned Citizens of Lake Mills was recently formed. In only 3 days, 150 people joined that group. And the group happens to be meeting tonight, right now, to see what can be done to help stop this apartment complex from going forward. I honestly hope that there's something that we can do here as well. So, thank you very much for the time.
And their next meeting, I think, is December 21st. Drake told me that this morning, so I think it would be wise to voice at that next meeting as well.
Yes, yeah,
So just so everyone's aware of that.
thank you, yeah. There's been a lot of...
It's really going to lie in the hands of the council. I mean, the 5 council members.
Any voice you have whatsoever with the council and sharing our concerns would be really appreciated. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is David Weir, live at N6632 Woodfield Lane. I also come to speak about the development that is proposed by Vanguard on this property. When I heard about, first of all, I didn't even know it wasn't town property until all of a sudden there's this building coming up. And if you look at their building plans, they couldn't squeeze that 165 new family units any closer to Highway B than, it's got to be a shoestring. It reflects nothing of the properties that are around it. And when I looked at it, I tried to say, how do you describe this thing? And I could only come up with one word, monstrosity. The Oxford English Dictionary says it's something, especially a building that is very large and is considered unsightly. Similar words are eyesore, horror, blot on the landscape. Something that is outrageously or offensively wrong. And this is just outrageously and offensively wrong for this property. It needs to remain R1. I realize it's not within your jurisdiction, but we have to be neighborly and respect one another. Just like neighbor to neighbor, people to people, town to city has to be respectful of each other. And I would really urge this board to communicate to the city that this is not a respectful use of the property. It is disrespectful to the town citizens. It threatens the crown jewel of both the town and the city, Rock Lake, Rock Lake could be destroyed by this development from the pollution, or the people, or the safety problems. So anything that this board can do to raise the awareness of other agencies who might have a say in this, the DNR, the county, and express our, and I hope your, extreme dissatisfaction with this idea to rezone this from R1 to R4 and allow, or multifamily, whatever the zoning is, to allow 165 family units to be squeezed into approximately 5 acres, because the whole property isn't buildable. It's a almost 15-acre property, mostly wetlands, and that's why everything's crammed right up against Highway B. It's just not a respectful thing to do to your neighbor, and we, the town, are the neighbors of the city. If you want, I thought of many things, and this is kind of like holding up a middle finger to the town, for the city to force this upon the town without taking into account the town concerns. Thank you.
I can't sign the sheet because it's got to go somewhere, but I will. My name is Margaret Krieger. I live at West 8170 Elm Point Road. I'm not here to talk about the housing development. I'm here to talk about the EMS, which I'm sure that all of you know that I'm going to be talking about the EMS, but I'm requesting that board members tonight be much more open than in the past about the total cost of funding both the EMS that is chosen and the one that is not. I'd like to know the total cost for each to provide services. I know Ryan Brothers would be $49.44 per capita. I'd like to know the per capita for the IGA, and with the IGA, how would funding be made up with the loss of Oakland, which was paying in over 40%. Cambridge has rejoined the IGA, but the village is in financial difficulty. The village needs to borrow $200,000 to cover next year's budget until tax time, and has a cap on how much they can pay into the IGA. Being more open about the IGA would put to rest the many rumors that are swirling around, including cost overruns, debts not paid, no oversight of spending, which has exceeded the 2023 budget, which the IGA has been using because there never has been a 2024 budget. I do appreciate the many hours board members have given to serve the township with very little compensation. Thank you.
Yep.
Hi, my name is Teresa Peterson, and I own a property at W7872 County Road B, which is actually the last property, well, I shouldn't say the complete last, but at the end of Bade Lane. I'm here tonight to express my concern regarding the Vanguard development. On October 15th, someone came onto my property and decided that they were going to give themselves a self-tour of my property. My tenant approached this gentleman, and the gentleman informed my tenant that he now owned it and that he was going to be putting apartments back there. My concern is not only the well water, but this gentleman being on my property, and I've had 2 more since then that have came onto my property. And I fully believe Vanguard's intention is to get their first 5 units in on the property on B, and then the properties on Bade Lane. I feel after this, again, gentleman and another gentleman coming onto my property, that their intention is to somehow landlock all of us on Bade Lane. There's no other reason for somebody to come onto my property and to tell my tenant that he now owned it. So I have, along with the other people that reside on Bade Lane, we have lots of concerns. One of them is with the driveway, because they want to move the driveway, which would mean a new easement, and now gives them even more control. There's a small section at the end of Bade Lane. It's, from what I'm being told, about 10 feet by 20 feet that belongs to him. The rest of Bade Lane, from my understanding, belongs to me. I purchased the property, and on October 7th, I signed on it, and within days, all of this has started up. So I'm really concerned about the whole situation, and I'm just hoping that the town can maybe have some impact on, you know, the concerns for our wells and also for the traffic problems. I've experienced the traffic problems this summer when I was working on getting my property ready for tenancy. Highway B was rerouted, Highway B, the interstate was rerouted onto Highway B. And I sat out at the end of Bade Lane for 10 minutes, hoping that somebody was gonna let me in. I live on Stony Brook Road. Normally, I would go up Rock Lake. Well, Rock Lake was closed, so I had to go right. After 10 minutes, I finally gave up and went left and went right and went all the way around down the Highway O to go home. And if that's what happens when the interstate gets routed. And as far as they're asking for a variance on the parking, my business provides service to many of the apartment complexes here in Lake Mills. And the parking is 2.5 cars per unit. And I can tell you in the existing complexes, 2.5 is not enough. And they want 1.5. And I know where those cars are gonna go. Over to the park, maybe down my lane. I don't know, but I'm very, very concerned, and I'm just hoping that, again, I know that it's a city project, but as a town of Lake Mills property owner, I'm hoping there's some impact that you guys can have. Thank you.
I got a question for you.
Yes.
If you don't mind. Your property goes all the way to County Trunk B, doesn't it?
So, no.
No.
So technically that driveway is owned by me, except there's a little strip at the very front that there is an easement. And it's, from what I'm being told, about 20 feet by maybe about 10 feet. It's been described to me as a strip that belongs to that property. And there's an easement.
That's where they want to put the driveway, I think.
Yeah, I see it curves around.
Yeah.
And I honestly believe if that driveway gets moved to where they want to move it, the people on Bade Lane are not going to be able to make it up the hill. It's, you know, I have a tenant that lives there. There's another property that has a tenant that lives there. And then also this property, technically, that's the access to his home, because the access that he has from Highway B is city-owned property, and it's a temporary, and he has no easement.
Ron Remus's property that she's talking about. He has that little cottage that's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, he's also very concerned. I mean, I've spoke with all of the neighbors, and I mean, we're more than happy to buy that little strip of land to get out of the situation that we are in. And, you know, I've talked to many people, and everybody that looks at it says their plan is to landlock us. And I truly and honestly, after having those people come onto my property, and especially for them to give themselves self-tours of my property. I mean, the lady that owned the property, she passed away, and I was helping there, and that is how I acquired the property through her daughter, because they wanted somebody to have it that they knew that was going to bring back the property and take care of it. So, thank you.
Is the sign-in sheet still there, or is it? Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha, okay. Sorry.
Anybody else want it?
There is a state statute, I don't know, it's 82 point something, it's in our thing here, but if you would become landlocked, you come to the town board, and we would have to go through the process of putting a public highway in through there to allow you access to the road. So there is a process that can be done, so just be aware of that.
That's good to know, because I know that there was an attempt to make that road back into a town road. And as the one that owns most of it, I'm good with that. And I know the last time, there were huge issues there where
Well, yeah.
the lady that owned the property, it was Carolyn Chapman, that she was being very difficult. And I want to be a good neighbor, and I want to work with my neighbors, and I want, so it's accessible to all of us. So I'm happy to give away that strip of land to make something work for all of us.
Now, the other facet too is if you have people running around on your property, that's trespassing. And if you have a phone and a picture phone, that's the best way to catch them and call
So going
either the
forward,
town police or the sheriff's department.
that's what I have instructed my tenant to do, is to go out there and before she even approaches them, to take a picture of the vehicle. The first vehicle was a black SUV, and the gentleman got out in a suit and started perusing my property. So again, I have no proof that it was tied in with that Wangert, but who else would do that?
All right.
Okay.
You're up.
My name is Andrea Turk. I live at W8001 County Highway B. I'm concerned mostly about the traffic that this will create on Highway B. I watch that traffic go by my kitchen window every single day. And in 45 minutes one morning, 279 cars passed my kitchen window. Trucks, semis, and 3 school buses were included in that. I too see people walking their dogs, walking their kids on bikes, by themselves on bikes. When Vanguard made the amount of people, our amount of vehicles that came by, they did it in the fall. They didn't do it in the summer. Believe me, there are a lot more vehicles coming down that County Highway B of town of Lake Mills in the summer than there was in September of this year. I'm also worried about the strain on resources, both for the town and for the school district, with a vast amount of people coming in. Schools are crowded at this point, the way it is, I hear. And I'm worried about the negative impact of current residents that live around there and have lived there and kept everything as it should for all these years. I'm also worried about the contamination. I know that at the base of Tyranina Park where the boat launch is, there have been, and I think I'm pronouncing it right, they're called PFOS. It's a white foam that has contaminants in it. Nobody knows where those contaminants are coming from, but they are there. They've been tested. I'm also deeply worried about the deforestation that Vanguard is talking about doing in that area. It's a wildlife habitat at this point. I understand that city development is tricky and that it has to be done, but I think there are some concerns that need to be addressed here. And you know how busy that highway is. And I concur with everything that's been said here by all these other residents. Thank you for listening to us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Going once, going twice. Okay, moving on. Old business. Discussion or decision of intergovernmental agreement by and between the city of Lake Mills and the town of Lake Mills for provision of emergency medical services with Ryan Brothers. I think we have a representative from them tonight. Cody? Sure, that'd be great.
Alrighty, my name is Cody Letson. I'm the service director for the EMS here in Lake Mills with Ryan Brothers. I know some of you I've corresponded with online through emails and things like that. I wanted to make myself available to the town board if you guys had any questions, if there was anything I could answer for you about our service, any information I could provide you or anything like that.
Yeah, the biggest question I have is coverage, I guess, because, you know, obviously the town of Oakland signed on and they're way out.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a tricky response time there. Obviously we're adding on a fairly big chunk
Yeah,
of
absolutely.
residents too, so I mean, with 2 ambulances, is that gonna be, you know, is that gonna cut it now all of a sudden, you know? And then who knows what's gonna happen with mutual aid?
Yeah, yep, absolutely. So I can kind of talk a little bit on that and give you some numbers. Right now, our service as it sits with the City of Lake Mills and Town of Ascalon portion, we're gonna run just about exactly 500 EMS calls this year. I pulled the numbers from the county just this morning. I anticipate that Oakland is gonna add about 115 calls for service next year. And then as of this morning, the town of Lake Mills was at 150 calls for EMS through today for the year. So basically, with the calls that the Lake Mills Fire Department ambulance does, we're probably looking at about just exactly 800 calls for EMS service next year. Typically, a full-time ambulance, I would expect our ambulance to cover roughly 90% of those calls next year. We'll always be the first out ambulance. We carry a paramedic ambulance. So if we cover 90% of the calls, it's about 720. So we're looking at 2 calls per 24-hour period. Obviously, and then we would have the Lake Mills Fire Department ambulance cover those secondary calls. There's definitely the possibility and likelihood that there will be several times that there may be 3-4 calls at one time, and that's where our mutual aid comes in. Between us and the Lake Mills Fire Department, we provide it to our neighbors. We would just ask the same in return. We have mutual aid agreements established with everyone. We also do have the option, we have 2 additional ambulances that we utilize for our facility in Deerfield, probably about 9 to 10 minutes away from reaching the township territory. So if it becomes something where we're currently getting those 3rd and 4th calls, that's definitely an option that we would look at. But 800 calls a year is definitely doable with 2 ambulances. I've worked on several services in the past, as well as Chief Russ, where a primary ambulance will cover 1,500, 1,600 calls with a single backup ambulance as well. So there's a lot of factors that go into it, but I do feel comfortable that we can adequately cover the increased call volume.
Because of kind of the location of the hospitals in this area, what do you figure average run call? 3 hours?
Not quite that much. So from us, in the City of Lake Mills, typically we shoot for about a 20-minute, less than a 20-minute on-scene time with our ambulance. If we were to go to the closest hospital, which is Fort Atkinson, it's about 18 minutes from the City of Lake Mills. So 18 minutes there, a 10-minute time at the hospital, and then that 18-minute return. Usually our average call probably is in the neighborhood of just about 1 hour to 1 hour and 20 minutes if we were to go there. Aurora is about 8 or 9 minutes farther, so you can add 18 minutes onto that one. Watertown, I think, is about 23 minutes, so 10 minutes or so. So I would say most of our calls are going to be from page to turnaround is probably about an hour and a half. I would say on average, a majority of our calls go to either Watertown, Fort Atkinson, Aurora, or Madison East Hospital.
So the 2 ambulances that you have staged in Deerfield, are they manned?
Typically, yep. So usually, right now, it would depend. We usually staff one with a 24-hour crew, and the other one is typically staffed from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So then, if you do have back-to-back calls, which you did experience that this week with 3 calls in about 11 minutes.
Yep.
So I get it. I've seen it time and time again. There might not be a call for a day or 2, and then all of a sudden you get
It's the way it always
6
goes,
and
yeah.
4 hours, but, so when you include the Lake Mills ambulance, and now does the per capita cost that we're gonna be paying cover that ambulance? Or is there going to be an additional charge from our fire protection on to that ambulance if you're, they won't, okay. 'Cause mutual aid's a great thing. It doesn't, that way you don't tax everybody's equipment, and you don't have to have all that double up. But at the same time, if you're dependent on mutual aid all the time to cover your open spots, everybody has to pay for protection. But when you get the mutual aid, yeah, they can use the run call money to help offset the cost. But then it's up to the municipality or the district that ambulance or fire truck is coming from to pay for that protection. So, and I totally get it, but to me that becomes a difficult way to justify covering. That's why, in my mind, that if you have, one ambulance stationed in the city of Lake Mills, and we're contracting to you, then you should be using Deerfield. And also, because you guys are right there also, but if that makes sense, but I'll just kind of thinking out loud. But so my next question is, what is your run call fees?
So, I can talk a little bit about that. So I inquired on that this morning for you guys. I don't know what your current provider is charging, so I can't give you a direct comparison. We actually do our own billing in-house, so our billing is a little bit more flexible. We don't just have the straight 2-tier fee like most services. I would say, on average, our call, everything is dependent on, the level of care provided, the equipment used, all that sort of thing.
Right.
So I would say we're probably not the cheapest, but we're also probably not the most expensive. The thing about 911 EMS is that about 80% of your calls are rate controlled. So it doesn't actually matter what service is providing the care. It's going to be the exact same fee no matter what because of caps on Medicare.
Right, yeah, I get that, yeah.
Yeah, so it would really be dependent on the type of call to give you an idea. It's I can't speak too much because, like I said, I don't work in the billing department, but I would say it's fairly comparable to anywhere else. It depends on your insurance and things like that as well.
So give me a number. You danced it. Give me a number.
Yeah, I would say on average EMS call is probably maybe $1,700 total.
Okay, then plus mileage?
Yes, yeah, you'd have your mileage addition as well.
Okay. So then forgiveness, say your insurance company only covers $1,000 of it and I don't have the money.
Yeah, so that part I don't want to speak, I don't want to give you guys any bad information because I don't obviously work in the billing department. I know that for most calls that are on the rate control, you can't balance bill, so you cannot charge the patient whatever's left over. It's not allowed. Commercial insurance things, I don't really know how that works. Each insurance company is different and handles it different. Some of them I know provide money directly to the patient, and then the patient is responsible for paying us and all that sort of stuff. I do know basically what happens is that you guys most likely will have a role in that because of, at the end of the day, because municipal 911 calls for service do not get sent to credit collections or anything like that. You use the TRIP program, which I'm sure you guys use for other services and things like that. So it kind of goes through that system. As far as how they do collections beyond insurance stuff, that's way beyond what I would be able to answer for you guys from a billing standpoint.
Right, yeah. Yep, I get it.
Yeah.
Your commitment to 911,
As far as length of time or?
you're planning on standing and I want, because it's a difficult business.
Oh, yeah, yep, absolutely. So just background for us, we did, we held a contract in Fort Atkinson for about 22 years. We had once they took over, we had about a 1-year hiatus before we came to Lake Mills. In between that time, I think we had a 13 or 14-year stint with Maple Bluff, as well as a 5 or 6-year stint with the town of Deerfield. So probably, you know, we've been in the 911 business for close to 30 years as a company, and we're definitely very committed to sticking with it. And we know what to expect, and we know how to manage and all that sort of stuff. It's nothing new for us.
And your new owners have that same vision?
They do, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely, yep.
All right.
Everything, has stayed relatively the same.
Yeah, okay. And your commitment to the city of Lake Mills, I see on your contract, you know, it looks like you're going to renew for another 3 years?
Yeah, so I don't wanna speak for the city of Lake Mills, obviously this is only on our behalf, but, I know we are definitely interested, and, we knew that there may be some additions to areas and things like that coming up, so, once we got through that, we are definitely interested in looking at more of a long-term contract to kind of build some stability into the area, into EMS, where, you know, municipalities can better budget year to year with expectations and things like that. So definitely beneficial for us to have a longer term contract. And I think the city feels the same way, but again, I don't want to speak for them. So yeah.
Okay, thanks. Didn't mean to beat you up.
No. I appreciate the questions.
Yeah.
They're good questions. So
If we go to the town of Lake Mills, if we go with you, you're picking up more of the interstate, correct?
correct. Yeah.
So you feel that's gonna add more calls? I mean, you know what Cambridge has been doing out there already.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, there's always things that can affect call volume, like this year. Obviously, they were doing quite a bit of construction on the bridge in your guys' territory, which I think contributed to quite a few more accidents than normal. But yeah, we've got a pretty solid plan with the areas of the interstate that we carry through Ascalon and the city of Lake Mills. So I do feel confident that we can handle that and work closely with the fire department and make sure that that gets covered.
So then the interstate would be covered from county line towards Madison, all the way to where Aston or Johnson's Creek picks up?
Yep, correct, yep.
Okay,
Just on
so
the
it's
side of the racetrack there.
just back to the way it was.
Yeah,
back when they-
exactly.
East and westbound, both sides.
Yeah.
No?
No,
I think
there's
Waterloo.
Waterloo's got one of those signs.
Yeah, Waterloo's on one side on the north, which is a part of the 94 corridor, and then on the opposite side, on the east side, that's part of the town of Milford.
Milford.
Oh,
The
okay.
north side there
Yeah,
as well, so
right.
that would be Johnson's Creek.
Okay.
All the eastbound lane would then be covered, yes.
Confusing, right?
And those two aren't close. You guys are the closest. Yeah, go figure.
I don't have any more questions.
I don't have any more.
Me either.
I mean, my big thing is I'm mostly concerned, you know, right now about making sure we're adequately covered. Make sure we're covered going in January 1 here. So
Yeah, and you're right, Tom, because then that eliminates your liability if we're adequate covered. Service-wise, you know, they're paramedic, and then you guys are, what, Flex, yeah.
Just to answer a couple of Margaret's questions, presently Cambridge covers like 1,952 people of town of Lake Mills. So that would be going back over to City of Lake Mills. So basically it's I'm not gonna guarantee that number. That's what we
That's
had.
an estimate, yeah.
That's an estimate. That'll be figured out, but it's around there, 1,950 people. The area that's not covered of the town of Lake Mills would be in the Cambridge Fire District yet, which is in the Krogville, Oakland, or Krogville, London area, which is covered by the Cambridge Fire Department. So basically, the ambulance service would be covered in the same area that
The fire.
Lake Mills Fire Department covers now.
Correct.
I mean, basically, it goes back to the way it was,
Yes,
Way it was.
goes back to
Yeah.
the way it was.
percentage-wise.
Which from a dispatch, it follows the fire district. Makes it a little easier.
The other question you had is the per capita cost that we were paying for Cambridge was $60 per capita. And you stated this one's $49.44, which is correct.
Verify that or, no, you're right. Oh, thank you.
So, and plus, we will not be renting the old EMS building anymore. That was $30,000. And that rent was going up also.
Yep.
I just want to say that I'm pleased with the service that we got from Cambridge. That's not the reason we're moving away from them. We're moving away because the town of Oakland bowed out of the Cambridge Fire District, which they paid 42% or 45% of that budget. I know there's going to be some big financial issues over there in Cambridge, both fire department and ambulance service.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Because of what Oakland did. And so I just want to go on the record that Oakland did this, and now everybody's going to live with it that was in that fire district.
Yeah, there's,
Oakland was offered a chance to come back into the IGA, just like the village of Cambridge was. Oakland decided to go a different route. Cambridge decided to come back in. So, that's the truth.
More of that story.
Pardon?
There's more of that story.
and I'll echo, Jim's comment on, the service, because the service was, it's really good. I'm appreciative that, the city has stepped forward, and Ryan Brothers as well, to try to make, everything happen, because this whole EMS thing, there's a lot of growing pains right now. And they're not going away. So it's gonna give more time for some of these things to work out. The biggest thing that I'm not happy about, I think, is because you start to, we're talking 2 ambulances here, and, obviously we had the one extra one over here, so that was a 3rd, and then we had a chaser vehicle around, that was a 4th, and there's 2 more sitting in Cambridge. You're going from 6 to 2. So to me, I don't feel that benefits everybody, but at this point in time, until things get worked out, and we get through these growing pains, it's gonna take a little bit of time. I think, this is definitely, a move that just, tonight's motion will need to happen to make sure that we have, EMS, services going into next year for our residents. And things can change in a year or whatever. Maybe the county's gonna step in and do some county-wide stuff and help out too, which will kind of take some pressure off. But when push comes to shove, there's gonna have to be some things that change so we can get things stationed adequately, to support our residents in a call time that's very, very reasonable in lessening it, than we'll probably have.
Would this be a one-year contract then with Ryan Brothers? Or what kind of contract would it be?
Their contract only goes through next year, I think, at the
No,
city.
it's 2026.
July.
July of 2026. And then it extends another 3 years if the city
If the
extends-
city extends it.
Yes.
So 2 years.
And if any municipality wants to opt out, they gotta give a 180 or 270 day notice.
Notice.
180 days.
Well, that's the first term, then the
Oh,
next
okay.
one is 270.
Just like any contract, there's the option to rescind from the contract within so many days.
Okay, can we get a motion?
I make a motion to approve the intergovernmental agreement between the city of Lake Mills and the town of Lake Mills for the provision of emergency medical services for the area of the town of Lake Mills that is presently covered by the city of Lake Mills Fire Department.
Can we get a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
All right.
Any abstained? Nope. So motion carries 2-1. Then I think, let's just see here, do we have that other one separately on here? Yeah. Separate. That's separate, okay.
No.
Got it.
There was no abstain.
There's no abstain because we have 3 board members. It was my fault. Long day. Discussion or decision on fire contract with the city of Lake Mills. As discussed earlier, when I talked to Drake, there was gonna be some language reductions in that contract that were redundant based on this previous motion.
Okay.
So we should see something soon, and obviously we're covered, so.
So I make a motion to postpone that to a future meeting.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. C, discussion or decision on bidding construction of the Rock Lake Inn boat launch construction project. So Corey's plan was to launch a bid after the new year, the month of January.
So we get a bid in January so we can get
Something hopefully
something
by
in February.
February, yep,
by our meeting,
yep,
and then they can get going on ordering materials and start that when ice out.
correct.
Okay.
Do we know if we
Do
need a
we-
motion on that or
Yeah.
not? We can get one if you want.
I'll make a motion that we bid the Rock Lake North End Boat Launch Construction Project in January and have the bids ready for our February meeting.
Second.
Any other discussion?
And Corey is working on it, right?
Yeah, I just met with him this morning and gave him the
Okay.
heads up that this was gonna happen. so.
Okay, all right.
Most likely happened. That we wanted to get bids out early in the
Yeah,
year.
okay. Cause it sounded like when you're on the phone that hadn't really done anything, but.
Excuse me, can we have the conversations? It's hard to concentrate on what you're saying. Thank you.
Discussion or decision of approval of the proposed 2025 budget. That's been tabled. We need to take that off the table.
I'll make a motion to take it off the table.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. It's off the table.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2025 budget as printed.
Second.
Is there any other discussion?
What changes, I know you and Robin were working on this and verifying some of the stuff that we did on the budget night, so exactly what was that, Jim?
Well, in the capital outlay account, we put in for the new boat.
Yep.
And we used some money out of the past budget that was gonna be left over. And on the way home, I realized that we got a cash apply 45,000 out of the capital outlay
Oh,
budget.
right.
Oh, right,
So
yeah,
that reduced-
okay. Yeah, I guess we talked about it, but then,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I emailed Robin, told her to fix that. And then we used some money left over from the police budget. Sorry, just a second if you want. I'll tell you what we cash applied then. Total cash applied was $234,157.97, I believe. Then another thing that we didn't do is we had done we budgeted for the assessment in 2024 for half of it. So we had 22,000 left there, which we needed to move to the 2025 budget. So that number changed. Again, that lowered the expenses on that side by 22,000. I stated we took the 45,000 out of the capital budget. We transferred the 33,000 from the 2023 budget that was excess into the 2024 budget. And then Robin's 20,600 for the Rock Lake segregated account. We took that out of the Rock Lake account, put that cash applied, and then we cash applied some money, like $94,280 from the highway fund into the, to get that number. And $19,277.79 from the police budget. Some of these, the highway and the police still have to be massaged a little bit, but it's not gonna affect the budget number.
Right.
Because
Right.
The police still had a little bit of expenses in December, and then the county highway
Correct.
for Fourth Lane came in. So
Okay.
that's another 18,000. So, but there's money there in the police budget to make that all work out.
Okay.
Anyway, those are the changes.
All right.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
For what,
Is the EMS included in that, or is that?
under public safety, the total, which is EMS, police, fire, or simplified budget, this is the requirements as far as the breakouts. The total amount for the 2025 budget is $570,409.10. So within that includes fire, EMS, and police.
And what is the total budget?
For disbursements,
For everything, or the whole?
for disbursements,
She wants
Margaret?
general
Just-
property tax? And the total
Yeah,
budget.
just, we just have some sort of total budget, or?
right. The copy, it is on the website, I can forward it to you so you have it.
Oh.
So the total expenditures will be $1,535,109.38. Same with revenue,
513.
513, did I read the wrong one?
You got 35.
Did I have 35?
Okay.
That's what I
Yeah,
see.
sorry, did I read it
Yeah.
wrong? Okay.
No, you didn't read it wrong.
Okay.
I got it wrong.
The levied amount, which is the amount that we're gonna get from the property taxes, is $727,735. So that's within that $1,535,109.38 in revenue. And Margaret, I can get you a copy, I'll send you a copy of this so you can see this, okay?
All right, new business. Discussion or decision of Village of Cambridge's decision to rescind their motion to withdraw from the Cambridge Fire and EMS Commission.
Okay, in IGA, there is no specific language for anybody coming into back into the district after a rescind. So in order to allow into the commission, that has to be an individual municipality unanimous vote. So I guess, that's kind of where we're going to start. So I'd like to make a motion that we allow Cambridge to rescind their motion and welcome them back into the Cambridge Fire and EMS Commission without any provisions for us or them.
I'll second that motion for discussion purposes.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, I don't have any problem with that because no money was paid out, According to the IGA, Oakland got out, so over the next year, you have to have an assessment made of.
An audit, correct,
done.
yes.
Figure out what your assets are and then
Yep.
pay back the 42% of that to Oakland.
Right.
Cambridge, that doesn't apply to Cambridge, so that's no issue there, but if Oakland ever does want to come back in, there needs to be language in that IGA that if anything was paid out, they have to buy back in.
Comes back
Correct.
in. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So when that day comes, that's going to be a whole new ballgame.
Yeah.
So, and then also in the IGA, we have 3 years to make a balloon payment to the town of Oakland, or it's 5 equal installments. So that's all yet to be determined.
So it's 3 year, 5 installments.
It's either balloon payment in 3 years,
Okay.
or it's 5 equal installments for 5 years.
Over 5 years.
Yeah.
5 installments.
Call the question.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Discussion or decision of send.
Can I ask just a general question about that? About the IGA?
No, because this is not, has nothing to do with the IGA right now.
All right, thank you.
All right, discussion or decision of sending Jefferson County Parks Department the 2025 work plan and budget for the Rock Lake North End Boat Launch Memorandum of Understanding, MOU.
So that was with the
It was
packet
on the
for
back.
budget.
Yep, it's right here.
Jim helped put this together.
So for people that don't understand this one, we had to enter into an MOU to be able to do any work on the north end boat launch, because apparently after all these years, way back when, something was done over a handshake and we don't own part of that property. So we found that out. So we entered into an MOU, and in that agreement, they want us to submit our, basically the revenue that's made off of the launches, and they want to have some say at the county parks committee on future projects and things like that that the town would be doing on that site.
They also wanted a work plan, annual work plan from us.
Yep.
What we could plan on spending each year. So,
Which really doesn't happen all that
No.
often, other than the general maintenance of pulling piers and things like that, and police officers' wages for that, picking up the fees. It's just that with doing the North Boat Launch here, it's part of the work plan, because it's a fairly sizable chunk of money that's in a 50/50 grant that we received to improve that launch.
that project estimated cost is $195,070, and like Tom said, 50% of that's ours, which is $97,535. State pays the rest.
So sitting with the Parks Department and then, with this MOU, and obviously they want to know what money we have in that Rock Lake account. Before they start penciling in using some of our funds, I'm assuming that's going to be a mutual agreement, whether it's, park improvements on the lake, right?
We would have to approve it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
I don't know how money can leave the purse without our board approving it.
Yeah.
Should say the town board
Right.
approving it. I'm good with this. It's simple enough to me.
Yeah, and Robin and Sharon, they're in here, so we're good there.
I'll make a motion to approve this annual work plan.
I'll second
Rock
it.
Lake. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Discussion or decision of rental contract with Degner Properties LLC. This is for the rental for the current EMS that we were using, that we will no longer need.
Yeah, the current contract runs through till the 1st of February. End of January, so. I'll make a motion to send a letter to Degner Properties notifying them that Town of Lake Mills will not be renewing the lease for the building located at 603 East Lake Street, Lake Mills, Wisconsin, 53551. Lease to expire January 31st, 2025.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Discussion or decision of the local roads improvement program, 50/50 grant from the DOT in regards to the construction of Rock Lake Road. This is another one that I talked to Corey about that we want to rebid 1st of January to have ready for our February board meeting, so we have fresh costs.
I asked Corey about the, it's a 50/50 grant program, but.
Unless it goes over the cap.
And the cap,
Yeah.
the state is gonna pay is $219,628.54. So we're responsible for anything more than that.
Correct, over the total cost of
Yeah.
the grant. He
So
said
then-
Brian said they were pretty flexible on, like, if the engineering costs were less and the road was more, that you could slide within that realm, but, anything that's over the total cap definitely would have to come out of the town, so. I mean, projectively, Corey said he's seen costs come down right now. And at the time that we bid it, and I talked to Brian about this too, Brian said it's probably about the worst time to be bidding stuff when we bid that, that late in the year, so that was probably why we saw some of the costs that we did. So I'm remaining optimistic that, you know, we're gonna see something decent come out of this.
Yeah, and then we'll have to look at when bids come in as far as what we have in the highway fund.
Correct.
We should have about 450,000 in there for this project. The bids we took in fall were 544,000, so we were short a little there. Because the town has to cover the entire cost and then be reimbursed by the state. So there's gonna be a lapse in there of a few months where the town may have to do a short-term borrowing process again until we get reimbursed, so.
Which usually is
Maybe
what,
not, but
3 to 4 months.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say, but it, most likely there might be, and it depends on our winter and our winter maintenance, and we'll have a way better handle on that, hopefully by our February meeting as to where we're at, depending on how January and early February goes, so.
The only other thing I asked Corey a month ago, or so I just emailed him, asked him if, it's 220,000 basically, each 50/50, so that's 440,000. I said, could you reduce the scope of the project to bring it back to 440 and they'd still pay 220? But then I went out and looked at that road and I guess it's not worth doing that. I think the whole thing needs to be redone, so.
Yeah,
I was hoping there were a good section in there we could just skip, you know, but.
Yeah, and I think it's really hard to amend those things later
I
on.
know.
Brian made that comment, and I think the only part we might have been able to amend is the side that the bridge is on, if they redo the bridge someday, but I think it'd be, you know, up to, you know, the town board in the future that if, you know, they come in and wreck a new road, that they're gonna be held responsible for it and, you know, have to fix it, and do the maintenance on it to refurbish it. When they do that side. It's kind of a convoluted deal, you know, they should have done both of them at the same time, but it's just how they operate right now, so.
So did Corey interested in bidding it in January again?
Yep,
Having
same
bids
date.
ready for February?
Yep, so we can get a motion for that.
I'll make a motion that we bid the Rock Lake Road construction project in January and have the bids due our February meeting.
Second?
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Which carries. Discuss the decision of 5-22 Parks Ordinance amendments proposed by the Plan Commission.
There was a lot of things were messed up on that ordinance again as far as numbering. So, and the section, which is the titles of the sections, some of them were wrong, misworded wrong, numbering had to be redone. And then probably the largest thing was the adding of the kayak canoe rental and storage racks. We put that in here and explained some rules for those racks, which Robin takes care of all of it and rents them out, so. But we didn't have any language in there for anything on that, but we do in this revision. That's the biggest.
Just had a question on these over here. Did these get moved on the back underneath kayak and canoe? Or are those just crossed out indefinitely because they were redundant with other ordinances?
No. We've got 522.13.
522.9 all the way to, yeah. It's all crossed out on there.
This is all.
I think it's because you must have been adjusting all of it. Do you want to give me a blank copy? Does that help?
Well, that's what Tom's doing.
Yeah. Is it different than what you got there? That you were working on?
This got moved.
Do you want to know if that's somewhere else?
Oh, I see. It all got moved over here. Maybe under rules of conduct.
I think that was part of the adjustments from the
There must have been maybe.
renumbering.
Yeah, maybe some redundancy in it too.
Is this amended prior, maybe one
This-
other time?
Maybe.
And
This
that
is what
these-
I got from you that I printed.
Well, otherwise we can table this till next month and have like a fresh copy.
I think we should.
Yeah, look at
It's
it,
not,
'cause
we're
it's,
not public hearing yet anyways with it.
I was a little confused on a few things.
I'll make a motion to table.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, say nay. It's tabled. All right, discussion or decision, the town board positions descriptions document.
So Jim helped me work on this with you guys all deciding to step away, so that people know what the jobs entail. This document came from another town's, version of this where they had already pulled out all of the duties that were listed in the state statutes, and they had put that into a document. And basically, at the end of each of the job descriptions is the information that's more specific to the town of Lake Mills, as far as, you know, specific duties that we expect at this level. Just so we have something a little more comprehensive, since there's gonna be quite a few new people coming. To help
Hopefully.
me explain the jobs.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
And it's all really important to not miss, that's the biggest thing.
Well, actually, it was good to revisit this anyway. I mean, it's
Yeah.
good to revisit something like this every couple of years, you know, to make sure that it's up to snuff. The only comment I had, I talked to Robin about it, was
What page was it on?
page 11, under the perform road tour of all town roads in the spring, year, and fall. With the first two bullet points, there should be something in there adding, since we do get help from our town engineer and the county, that's included in there. Because the town engineer is really doing the Paisley rating system, and putting that stuff together, which is really, really important, because they're the foremost experts on that, and professionals. So we're up to date and up to snuff with that, with the state. And then as far as like the crack filling and all that stuff, it's good to work with them, to put together those types of packages so you can get your best bang for your buck on that type of stuff, so.
So you just want to work with the county to determine?
Work with the town engineer and the county, yeah, the
So
commissioner.
basically, the same language under both of those bullet points could be just work with town engineer and county highway department?
Yep,
Okay, I
Yeah.
can add that. Now, the question for those, because Jim and I worked on this, is there anything that we missed that the town supervisors or town chair do that we didn't capture?
own trucks to pull trees out of the road.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to own a Bobcat trailer.
Yeah, 24/7 phone call.
Chainsaws.
Yep,
Oh, yeah.
even if it's lightning and you gotta do it in the rain.
Yeah. Even the power lines are down.
No, I will
Yeah,
say, I
that's
mean,
always fun.
it looks like a, you know, when you first go through it, it looks really, really daunting.
Yeah, I was wore out when I read it.
Well, but there are a lot of things in place and a lot of,
Yeah.
some, you know, really, really good local contractors that we have that are really fair and organized and quick to get to things. So it really takes a lot of the pressure off, which
It
is
does.
really, really nice. Really nice to have, because in the past it was, you got people coming from far away, especially on the tree stuff and whatever. And sometimes it was taking months. I mean, it was absolutely crazy. So I will say that, you know, it's all very, very doable, and don't want it to sound like it's
Too daunting. Huh?
too daunting, yeah, and exhausting. Because it really is a privilege to serve your community.
Yep.
And I think everyone should, you know, take that opportunity to do that in some way, shape, or form, on, you know, throughout their life.
And we have farmed it quite a bit out, like what Tom says. Jim and I, we used to do all the road signs. And of course the tree removal and a couple other things, we fire signs. So that's all the reflectivity tests is all done by the county now, so.
Do you wanna postpone that one, or for those revisions, or move it on with those revisions?
Unless, do you have other revisions you wanna make, or you wanna spend more time?
I'm good.
It's up to you guys.
I'm good with just the revisions.
I'll make a motion to approve the town board position descriptions document with the two changes that Tom made.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Discussion or decision of the town fee and bond schedules and resolution to set fees for 2025.
You wanna wait for Troy's comments?
No, I did get them back.
Oh, you
He
did?
was gone last week, so it was a little late in coming, but I did get all of those captured. That's why I had given you updated sheets today.
Do you want me to read that resolution?
Yes, the resolution has to be read.
Yep. Resolution 2024-1210, Town of Lake Mills fee schedule. Whereas the Town of Lake Mills Board has determined that it is prudent to create and update periodically a general fee schedule, police department and building inspection fees schedule together shall be referred to as fee schedules to provide efficiency, economy, and uniformity in establishing and adjusting the fees charged by the Town of Lake Mills as enumerated throughout the Town of Lake Mills Code of Ordinances into an abbreviated general schedule, any building inspection schedule. And whereas the fees set forth in the fee schedules append the fees in the Town of Lake Mills Code of Ordinance, and whereas the fees set forth in the fee schedules may be added to or amended from time to time by adoption of a resolution, and whereas the town board shall review the fee schedules on at least an annual basis for the purpose of adjusting and updating fees charged by the town, and any amendments or additions thereto may be made by resolution, and whereas the fee set forth in the fee schedule shall supersede any fee established elsewhere in the town's code of ordinance for the same charge. If a fee is set forth elsewhere in the Town of Lake Mills Code of Ordinance or via a resolution, and there is no corresponding fee set forth in the attached fee schedules, the fee set forth elsewhere in the Code of Ordinance or the resolution shall control until such time as a fee for the same charge is established in the fee schedules. And whereas the town gives the authority to collect fees outlined on the building inspection fee schedule on behalf of the town to be contracted building inspector Troy Evanson, City of Lake Mills, or a designated substitute or replacement upon notice from the City of Lake Mills. Therefore, be resolved that the Town of Lake Mills Board approves the following fee schedule as defined in the attached schedules dated December 10th, 2024, and be effective upon passage of this resolution and posting of this resolution.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2024-1210.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Correspondence.
I believe there are some meetings coming up from the Towns Association. They haven't posted in their latest magazine that came out. If there's anyone that's interested, probably not right now, but new ones may be interested in coming up, so we can keep track of.
Yeah, because somebody ought to do board of review.
Yes, we'll have to have somebody that's certified for board review again, because that's annually now.
It won't be us.
I know.
Well,
Unless you guys
you
could
can still be
serve.
nominated.
Yeah, that's true.
Could be
Yeah.
appointed to the board review.
Can be appointed, yep, that's right. Retirement's tough,
Out of the
isn't
country,
it?
Jim?
Yeah. The other thing is that we were gonna do reevaluation this year, contract. Have you notified assessor?
I haven't
Get
heard
going?
much from, no, I haven't heard much from him. Usually he lets me know what their plan is, but
Well-
it probably won't be until after the first of the year.
Yeah, I know, but maybe contact him and make sure he's ready to go.
Okay.
Otherwise, because I think
They tend to
Board
get
of Review will
really
probably
late.
be late, September,
Yeah.
October.
Yeah.
this year.
Open and close it.
Okay.
Okay, discussion of future agenda items.
We've got at least 2 items for the February agenda for those bidded Rock Lake Road and the North End boat launch. Maybe the application for Acres. Should be, other than anything else that comes in. You get the other postponed items, but nothing new that I can think of at this point.
Okay. Meeting scheduled, January 7th, 2025, Planning Commission meeting, 7 PM at the Town Hall. January 9th, 2025, Joint Rock Lake Committee meeting, 6 PM at City. January 14th, 2025, Town Board meeting, 7 PM at the Town Hall.
Dave, I don't see anything for a fire commission meeting listed.
That generally is not on here.
Oh, I thought it was part of your, when I
No.
read your agenda.
No.
Is there one?
We'll talk about that. Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all
So the
opposed.
answer to the question.
Motion
is-
carries. Meeting adjourned at 8:20.